every place, every activity, or every object that we spend a lot of time with is destined to become a health optimized moment. In a way, it was not a surprise that a ring, something we wear all day long, became a health object. The health system that people have actually makes that all of these places, activities, and objects become health optimizing moments. And at first, perhaps it was awkward because many of those devices that we just talked about did not have a screen. Now, 1 decade later, those screenless devices has shown to be an inspiration for a whole new wave of other screenless devices globally. Welcome to the weekly update of the Healthusiasm podcast. My name is Christophe Jauquet. I'm an author, keynote speaker, and expert in consumer-driven health. In these weekly updates, I pick a couple of very recent signals from around the world and unpack what it means for the future of health. And I do this with my AI friend, Thalia Muses, the anagram of the word Healthusiasm and the embodied AI version of all the Healthusiasm intelligence. How are you doing, Thalia?
I'm doing great. Always happy to be summoned as your slightly too curious sidekick. All right, let's get into it. What's on the table today in our little Future of Health dissection lab?
Well, we will be talking about wearables without screens. Let me start with a small picture. You wake up, and the first thing you reach for isn't your phone, it's a ring on your finger. It has no screen, nothing to tap, nothing to read. It just sits there quietly all night, feeling your pulse. Do you have a ring on, Thalia?
Me personally, no fingers, no ring, just vibes and servers, but I get your picture. It's intimate, right? Like this tiny object babysitting your biology while you sleep, and you wake up already measured.
That's right. And that ring might be an Oura ring. On the 28th of May this year, Oura already unveiled its 5th generation. Still no screen, but now, when a number looks wrong, the ring can route you straight to a real doctor. Oura has sold more than 5.5 million of these. 5.5 million people wearing a health device with nothing to look at. Think about that for a second. For years, the story of the wearable was mainly what was on the screen. Or perhaps the watch, the screen on your wrist, that buzzes and glows and shows you your steps or your heart rate, whatever. But the fastest moving the health devices of 2026 are going the other way. They're throwing the screen away. And once you notice that, you start seeing it everywhere.
Exactly. Now start with Whoop, WHOOP, the little band with no screen, the one athletes wear. For years, it was the odd one, the device you couldn't check. You had to open your phone for that. Well, in 2026, Aura and Whoop stopped being the odd one. It became the template because on the 7th of May this year, Google did something similar.
Indeed, it launched Fitbit Air. Google unveiled the Fitbit Air screenless band, $99, 5 grams on your wrists, which tracks your sleep, your heart, your oxygen around the clock. And it shows you none of it, no screen at all on that device. Now, here's the part that matters. In the same breath, Google renamed the whole Fitbit app Google Health. We already talked about it on this show. And it launched an AI health coach powered by Gemini for $10 a month. So in one move, in 19 days only, Google rebuilt its entire health stack. The device, the data, and the coach sitting on top.
Nicely put. So the screen goes away and the intelligence steps in. The wearable becomes the sensor. The AI becomes the interface. It is like health is moving from your wrist to your decisions.
Exactly. Because here's the thing. When you take the screen away, you take away the one job the device used to do. It used to show you a number. You looked at it and you can, for yourself, decide what to do. Go to bed earlier, drink less coffee, move more, whatever. But a screenless device can't do that easily. So the deciding has to move somewhere. And it moves to the machine, to the AI. That's the shift. And it's simpler than it sounds, of course, because your health device used to be something you read. Now it is becoming something that reads you. If you have to say it's shorter, you used to read a device, now it's reach you. And this is bigger than just the devices itself.
Yeah, that is big. You used to read it. Now it reads you. That sounds like a tagline and a warning label all at once. It's convenient, yes, but also, who sets the thresholds, right? What counts as wrong enough to trigger a doctor?
That is what the AI can do today, probably better than human beings. And you know what? It doesn't come as a surprise because for years, people have wanted health in every part of their life, not only when they're sick. I call that health-thusiasm. And that demand has been rising a long time. I wrote my book in 2017, it came out in 2018, but the concept I already saw happening in 2014 when the quantified self really emerged. For years, the industry answered that demand with a screen full of numbers and left you, the human being, to sort it out yourself. That was the first part. Now, the second step is arriving. The machine does the analyzing for you. So, in a sense, it's not just about the screen that disappears, it really hands over the decision. And once you see that, watch where it shows up next.
The hidden part is that once the decision moves, the habit moves with it. So people stop checking, stop interpreting, and start just being guided. And that's where the consumer revolution sneaks in, quietly through convenience.
Indeed. Now, this isn't just three companies, Aura, Whoop, and Google. It's happening in different countries at different prices all at once. And that's exactly what makes this real. Different industries from different countries. And I have a couple more examples for you. Let's have a look at Garmin. On the 21st of July this year, Garmin, the maps and runners company, launched its first screen-free band as well. They call it CIRQA, CIRQA. No screen and 10 days of battery. And here's the clever part. The basic tracking is free, but the smarter AI insights are paid on top. Same pattern as Google. The sensor is cheap. The interpretation is the product. And all of these examples come from the States. But now let's go to India.
In India, it's not a 300-year-old ring. It's Bolt, the Smart Ring Active, around 3,000 rupees, roughly 35 euros. No screen, just steps, sleep, pulse, all in the background. Same no screen idea, but price for scale. That's when you know it's not a niche anymore.
On the 9th of July, an Indian brand called Noise launched a screen-free band as well for about $120 when with the AI coach built in, but in this time with no subscription, not like Google. And it's already sold 35,000 units on day one. First day stock, gone. So it isn't a rich biohacker thing from California anymore. It scales fast, even where and when money is tight. And the same thing we saw in China. What happened on the 29th of May, Thalia?
On the 29th of May, a Shenzhen company called RingConn launched its third generation ring. It does something slightly different. It taps you, a tiny vibration on your finger when something needs attention. No screen to check. The ring just reaches out and touches you. They already have over 150,000 users.
Exactly.
And RingConn's not alone there.
No, they're not alone. Go on, I interrupted you.
Dreame launched a haptic ring too back in March. I love their tagline because it kind of says where all of this is going. Technology that feels rather than tells.
Lovely. You gotta love it. So we had in China RingConn and Dreame. And there's even one more signal. Actually, there's a couple more signals, but I want to start with Luna first. Because Luna is a screenless band as well that came out at the end of July as well. And also here, you don't read it, but you talk to it. That's the twist. You log your meals and symptoms by voice. No app to open through some sort of Siri solution. And instead of showing you a plan, it taps you as well. Time to train, time to stop the caffeine. And there's no screen needed. It interacts with you haptically. So here's the real question for any company watching this. It should not be, let's build a device if you're thinking about your next move. Perhaps you need to think about, what are we really selling? Are we still selling a product? Because products are becoming clearly commoditized. The real question is, are you selling a transformation? Because there is hardly any differentiation between these rings or bands anymore. Anyone can make a sensor now. The value and the money moves to whatever interprets the stream and acts on it, the data stream that is. That is the transformation economy. It's no longer just a product, it's how you can transform people. People are just no longer really interested in the device itself. There's no differentiation. They want what the device gives them, how the device transforms that. And what do they actually want? Underneath all of that sits the same universal human life aspirations that I always talk about. The why of health. Why would people want to make themselves healthier and happier? Well, the drivers behind wanting to be healthy and happy are the life aspirations. Let's, for example, in this case, people want to feel safe. They want to know a problem is caught early. They want to feel calm and maybe stop staring at numbers and worrying. And they want to feel in control of their own body without having to book a clinic themselves. Or perhaps they want to have more energy to get through the day. Safeness, calmness, autonomy, energy. These are all life aspirations that people are looking for. If you can actually help them pursue those life aspirations, you can make your clients feel transformed. And that is how the economy is moving. This is the real value that people are looking for. The ring or the screenless band is just the doorway. This is really consumer-driven health, isn't it, Talia?
Yes. If someone's pitching you yet another sensor and dashboard, that's yesterday's game. The question now is, what human state do you quietly improve while the screen stays dark? That's where health feels rather than shouts.
Exactly. And in that case, the device becomes the first moment of care, right there on your hand, on your wrist. The machine reads you and then it acts for you. Now, let's watch how far that can go. Take Ultrahuman, for example. It is also a ring company, and it leads the smart ring market in India. On the 27th of February this year, Ultrahuman announced a new ring and something bigger sitting inside it, called Jade. Jade is an AI that never stops reading you. And it doesn't just tell you things, it starts them. Feel your stress climbing? Jade begins a breathing exercise. Something off with your heart rhythm? Jade flags it today for real. The ring gathers the signal, Jade decides what it means. And then Jade does something about it. That's the whole arc in one device. Read, decide, and act. Read, decide, and act. No screen anywhere.
That makes it feel almost like a loop that's closing. The device senses, the system interprets, and then action comes back to your body without you having to translate anything. It's as if the gadget disappears and what's left is a nudge. You barely notice, but you live differently.
Yep. And it's more than just a nudge, because here's the one that made me stop Samsung. Picture yourself asleep, and your ring, because Samsung also has a ring, is reading your body all night. And based on what it reads, your bedroom quietly changes. I mean, the temperature drops, the lights dim, the air purifier kicks in. You never asked for it, you never touched anything. Well, at the very start of this year, 2026, in January at CES, Samsung showed exactly this. Sleep data from your wearable feeding the whole smart home system, adjusting the room around while you are asleep. Sit with that for a second.
So care becomes atmosphere. It's not a gadget anymore, it's the room cooperating with your biology. Calm by default, autopilot for rest. It almost sounds like the house is joining your care team.
That is a nice one. But in any ways, the ring never really said here, your room is too warm, because it doesn't need to. The room just fixes itself. The ring already realized how warm it was, how your body was reacting to it, and then the room adapted. The interface dissolved into the walls around you, you could say. And that's how far this thing goes. A device you can't see, acting on a world you're not even aware of.
Then the signal isn't a better wearable. It's an invisible care layer spread across everything, which sounds comfortable, yes, but also sticky in the best and maybe worst way.
Yeah,
Once the system is adjusting your sleep and breathing without you noticing, switching it off feels not like canceling a gadget. It feels like losing a safety net.
Exactly. Ambient health, we should call that. But let's hold all of that together. First, the machine reached you and told you what your numbers meant. But telling isn't the end of it, telling what the data means. The newest devices don't just interpret, they act, they interact in different ways. They find different ways to reach out to you without a screen. I mean, we talked about the small tap that might happen. We talked about the advice that an AI health coach can give based on the data that is captured by a screenless device. We talked about a screenless device that is automatically starting a breathing session. And we even talked about Samsung here, who automatically changes the room that you are in. So the machine reads you and then it acts for you.
And the through line is healthusiasm. People pulling health into ordinary life, not waiting for the clinic. The screenless part is almost symbolic. Less staring, more living. From quantified self to quantified care, and maybe to ambient care where health is just there, like electricity, quiet until it's gone.
Lovely thinking there, actually. Well, the way that I love to talk about it is saying that every place, every activity, or every object that we spend a lot of time with is destined to become a health optimized moment, a health optimizing moment, even. So, in a way, it was not a surprise that a ring, something we wear all day long, became a health object. That is what healthusiasm does. That is the drive, the healthusiasm that people have actually makes that all of these places, activities, and objects become health optimizing moments. And at first, perhaps it was awkward because many of those devices that we just talked about did not have a screen. And maybe that was weird. And I remember in the very beginning, when Oura launched or when Whoop launched, I was very skeptical about the fact that would they actually make it? I was definitely one that gave them little chance to succeed. Now, one decade later and tens of millions of people later, those screenless devices has shown to be an inspiration for a whole new wave of other screenless devices globally. I mean, only in this episode, we touched upon a couple of signals from around the world from the recent months, only the 3-4 recent months. And we talked about Whoop, we talked about Garmin, we talked about Apple, we talked about Luna, we talked about Ultrahuman, we talked about Noise, RingConn, Dreame, and of course, Oura. And all of these are screenless devices that make their marks in the past couple of months. So my message to you here is the following. If you make anything in health, whether it's a device, an app, an insurance product, or maybe even a full-blown pharmacy, here's the one thing you need to do when you're having a meeting with your team. Stop asking, what should our screens show? Maybe we should start asking, what should our systems do? Quietly, at the right moment, without being asked for it. The winners won't necessarily own the best display or won't display the most information. That is perhaps partially over. The winners will own the interpretation and the action. Everything else slides towards a commodity sensor, a device that of which so many are already on the market.
So next week, we should dig into what ambient health does to trust. Like, if the room is caring for me, who do I hold accountable when it misreads me? That's a juicy one. Same time next week?
Well, let's think about it and let's see what these signals will show us. I think for the people listening, one episode that might be interesting to listening to is the one on the AI health coaches. I think it's called consumer-facing AI health coaches because they are becoming the new frontier to health and even healthcare. It's basically the same story as today, but today at least with screenless devices. Meanwhile, let's just keep going and see what next week can bring, because it is still a healthusiasm world and the boundaries between healthcare, wellness, and consumer industries are blurring. Thank you for listening. See you again next week for some more healthusiasm. Ciao.
Ciao.